All right. So I'm Peter Coltrides. I'm the founder and CEO of the career management platform. And today is I think it's our sixth installment of the Wednesday complimentary coaching series. Myself, my business partner, Anthony Roman, will be joining us. Anthony is the president and chief learning officer of the career management platform. We're both 25 plus year executive search professionals. We've both run a couple of publicly traded companies. Anthony right now is the head of hiring for RGP in Atlanta, and I'm the director of staffing for Daly and Associates here in Boston. I run their consulting practice. So what I wanted to do was to start off with Career 911. Right now, everybody's in triage mode. And in saying that, being in triage mode is, what do you do? I've gotten laid off. I've gotten furloughed. I graduated college and my offer got rescinded, or I've gotten to the point now where I can't get an internship. So there's a lot going on in today's marketplace, and I've been through multiple downturns in the market, but I've never seen anything like this. But there are key things that everyone should do to keep themselves focused and on track and keep their career on track. First thing is this: if you're in a career 911 situation, it's get unemployment, get registered, start collecting unemployment, get the extra $600 that you're going to have through the end of July for the COVID. So that takes care of that, and you get that taken care of. First thing you got to look at your resume. You got to look at your LinkedIn. You got to look at your last job that you were in. So if you were laid off or furloughed, you got to look at your last set of responsibilities. And that's the first thing that you need to do. My recommendation is this. It's just like in any any other type of situation where you got to look at, how am I going to represent my brand? How am I going to bring my brand to the marketplace right now when I've been laid off, furloughed, offer rescinded, or I just can't land employment? So there's a few things that I highly recommend. Look at your last job. Look at the points from your last job. So look at your job description when you took the opportunity to what you're doing now. Make sure, and again, I say write it out. Write out everything. Write out every single thing you've ever done, all the responsibilities, who you interact with, what clients you're interacting with. Get it all down on paper, because when you talk to anyone, especially like me, myself, or my business partner, Anthony Roman, as a recruiter, that's the first thing we're going to ask you is, tell me about your last experience. Walk me through your opportunity and what you did and how you did it. Talk to me about your skill set. Talk to me about, what your deliverables are. What's your top 3 to 5 things that you can deliver in this opportunity? So I think it's super important, again, if you're in that career 911 mode, you're freaking out because you've got bills, you've got family, you've got a lifestyle that your career has afforded up until this moment. Now, all of a sudden, that's been taken away. So going forward, what do? I think you got to look at your personal brand, who you are and what you can bring to the table, and how you're going to represent it is the most important part of any interview process. And I'm going to say it again, it's the most important part of any interview process. How you verbalize your brand, what your brand value is, and what you bring to the table is literally the linchpin to landing a new opportunity and separating yourself from everyone else. So let's do a quick recap. You've now registered for unemployment. You've got that taken care of. You've pulled up your last Word document of your resume. You've got your LinkedIn up as well. You're looking at those. You grab the last set of responsibilities at your job. What did you do? Who did you did you get promoted? Write out all of the key accomplishments. Write out the things that were difficult and how you overcame them. Write them out. These are write-outs for you. They're not for your resume or LinkedIn. They're for you, so that you can build a power brand about what you've done and how you've done it. Write out who your clients are, who you're interacting with. what you're doing at month end and year end and quarter end reviews, whether you're in sales, whether you're in accounting, whether you're in operations, or whether you're in distribution, doesn't matter. You have a set of responsibilities at the end of every month. Every company does. What were your responsibilities? How did you impact the business? Did you write standard operating procedures? Did you streamline anything? What did you bring to the table? It makes you think about what your last role was and the asset that you were for the company. Now you have all this written out. My recommendation is stop, put it down, go back to it tomorrow, reread it tomorrow, keep writing. Because you're going to go, oh, wait a minute, I did this and I worked with this technology and I used SAP and we had a special ordering system, or I created, spreadsheets with macros, and I tracked all of the shipments through the FedEx, and I was a tester for the new FedEx system. These are all key points that you want to have in your brand, in your pitch. That was your responsibility. It's what your deliverable was. Okay. So from there, which is great, you're going to go to the job behind that, because the last 2 or 3 jobs, that's the secret sauce right there. That's what people are buying. They're not buying that you worked, 20 years ago at XYZ company. They're buying, what are your responsibilities right now? And how are you going to deliver here and make a massive impact for this company? So I say this because if I know anything, and I don't know how to change the oil in my car, but I'm going to tell you right now, I know how to negotiate compensation, and I know how to put people's asses in seats that they want to get into to elevate their career. So the step back is this: the people that are super successful in managing their career and elevating their career and have a 1, 3, and 5 year outlook for their career and where they want to be, they understand their brand value, and they understand that every month, every quarter, every half year, every year, they've got to add to that brand value to elevate their skills and responsibilities to get to the ultimate goal at that 5 year. Because once that 5 year comes, you're back at another 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year plan, but you're elevated. You're elevated in responsibilities. You're elevated in the types of corporations that you're working for, and you're elevated in your earning potential. So this is, just so everyone understands, this is actually course 1 through CMP. This is what we teach, and we teach this in depth. This is the basis for everything else that we do. It's been the basis for me in 25 years in doing what I do as an executive recruiter. It's been the basis of every single placement that I've ever made, because I sit down and I coach my candidates on how you're going to present yourself. What are the keys that you bring to the table? How are you going to deliver that to the manager? And then from there, how are you going to package it so that in conversation, that may not be directly in an interview, but it might be out at a networking event, or you meet somebody new. How do you package you? Because once you get used to it, and once you practice it, your deliverable changes, and then your plan changes. It's always increasing. So the first thing is, do the look back. Do the first job, second job, third job, look back. Now you have content. If you look at all of your accomplishments, all the system skills that you've acquired, all of the items and the job responsibilities that you've had, and you go back and you look at your resume, flip the resume over 3, 4, 5 days later, flip it over and look at it, you're going to go, oh, I got to rewrite this thing. It doesn't represent me. It doesn't represent my brand. It's not going to separate me from everyone else in the marketplace. Just so we're talking about that, everyone else in the marketplace, there's 20 million people on unemployment. If you're in shipping and receiving and you're sending your resume in, you're now pulled in with a candidate pool that we as recruiters have never seen before. How do you separate yourself from everyone else? This is the basis to doing that. This is the basis to your brand. I know what Peter Coltrides' brand stands for, and I know what I can deliver, and I know what I can't deliver. And what I can't deliver is an oil change in that car that I own. I know that for a fact. but I know I can negotiate comp and put people in the seats and help them get to the career goals that they want to achieve, because that's what I'm an expert in. So look at what you've done, and that's what you're an expert in. Now, we had some questions come in the past couple of weeks, and I want to address it because right here is probably a really good time to address it. We had some people say, well, I've been in this industry and now I want to change industries. Well, you want to change industries in a marketplace that's upside down. It's probably, I think if you want to change industries, you want to change jobs and doing what you do, you need to start building a network. You need to have your brand and what your value is, because if I'm an accountant and I want to go, let's say, into operations distribution, I better be able to relate in my brand, in my value that I bring. I better be able to relate that I'm detail oriented, I meet and exceed deadlines, and that, I understand everything from a business standpoint. I need to be able to relate things back. That's how you got to start practicing your brand, especially if you're going to change and get into a different industry or go into a different vertical completely. People do it all the time. A lot of recruiters are going to tell you, I can't move you from an accountant to operations role. I can't move you from, an accountant to, you have a biology degree in your background. I can't put you in the lab. Well, you know what? They're right. They can't put you in the lab. When you go to a recruiter, they get paid a dollar amount to place you in a vertical where you're an expert. So in saying that, that is one of the things, that's one of the key things that I want everyone to understand, is that point right there is, you can do what you want to do and you can go down the road you want to travel. But at the end of the day, you got to have your brand ready to be able to relate to what you want to do next. And the second component to this is, now you've built your resume, and that resume needs to scream like your brand, who you are, what you bring to the table. But the other component is, where's your network? Where's your network? Have you done the research? Just like in doing any job search, think of it this way. You go on the Monster Career Builder, Indeed, LinkedIn. Everybody's got their resumes posted. Now you're one of millions. Well, okay, now you're being picked up. Hopefully like we have in course 2, we tell you how to build out your resume and have it search optimized so that when you post it, that it's picking up on all the keywords, which is great. But again, a lot of other people are doing the same thing. Now your resume's out there, everyone can see it. That's your brand. Does your brand document match your brand, your verbal brand? When you sit down in front of a manager, a hiring manager, HR, recruiter, does it match? Does your LinkedIn match your branding document? And do both of those match your pitch and who you are? That's the key. The first place any recruiter, hiring manager, director of HR, line manager goes when they receive a resume is to LinkedIn. It's not to Instagram or Facebook and all that. It goes straight to LinkedIn. When they do your reference checks, they're going to check your social media. But LinkedIn is going to give them a chronological history of your accomplishments, who you are, what you've done. You're going to be able to see references, the companies that you've worked for, the titles, and the dates. Make sure they all line up. Make sure those powerful words and statements that are on your resume that you developed from when you went through and did that whole component of developing your story, your pitch, your brand. Make sure they match up on LinkedIn. That helps separate you. You got to look at your LinkedIn profile and your resume and say, if I apply for this job, would I hire this guy or this woman? And be honest with yourself, because guess what? If you say no, no big deal. Sit back down, start writing again. Sit back down, go through your history, and get the confidence that you need to be the guy. That's the big thing. To be the man or the woman, you want to get in that spot, get confident. You've accomplished so much. This market will beat you down. unemployment, all that stuff. That takes away that confidence. I use that look back, and I use what I've accomplished to build my confidence in my brand. Because if someone said, hey, Peter, if I wanted to recruit a CFO for a publicly traded company in a Fortune 100, can you do it? Yes, I can. You know why? I've done it here, 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 and here. This is how I did it. I've done it on retained search services as well as contingency. And these are the clients and these are the people that will give me a reference. That's confidence. Everybody has confidence when they go back and look at their skill set and what they've achieved. Now, you could be coming out of college and not have a ton of work experience. Okay, well, I babysat or I mowed lawns or I worked at the grocery store to get myself into college. I had the grades to get into school. I have grades now. I'm charitable. I've worked on projects at school. I have technical abilities that I've picked up at school. These are all talking points for you to get started and for you to be proud of. Not everybody goes to college. Not everybody gets there, and that's okay. But how do you start is by looking at where you are. Everything that's in your rearview mirror brought you to today. Say that again. Everything behind you, everything that you've accomplished behind you brings you to your current setup today. Now it's up to you to develop the brand. Now it's up to you to script it out, to make sure that you have it verbally and you practice it, to make sure that you put it in a branding document and it screams who you are and what your deliverables are, and then match that up to LinkedIn and keyword the LinkedIn so that people are finding you on searches. That's the key. You got to stay steadfast in that. Now, let's address one of the key points in this marketplace. Everybody's looking. All this stuff's going on. What do we do? As you go through your prior history and you start saying, well, I worked for Bob, and then there was 6 people in that group and I wrote them down. And I'm talking like I write, if you see my yellow pads, I've got stacks of them in my office of my whole entire career is written down on yellow notepads. And what you'll see in the column is the attorneys' names that I was dealing with, the controllers, the CFOs, the ops managers, their clients that were given reference. Like, you'll see and that's why I have so many connections. I have connections to people because I listed them out. And I'm between my job running a consulting practice in the career management platform and all of our members, I have a lot of people I'm connected with. I make sure every week that I go back in and anyone knew that I met, that it was written down. I go in and send them a note. Thanks. It was great meeting you. Great connecting with you. We had a great conversation. If you need anything, give me a buzz. Because the more people you're connected with on LinkedIn, this is not Facebook. It's not Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. LinkedIn is a portal to get to other professionals. So think of it this way. I'm an accountant and I want to go into operations for a company. Well, wouldn't I want to research all the companies that have operation roles and see, am I connected to any one of those people at those companies? Am I a first, second, or third connection? How do I get? Because obviously, if I can get to somebody at the company who could say, wait a minute, Peter would be great. He's got a great accounting background. He understands operations. He's got a great profile. I know him. I'd vouch for him personally. Have a conversation with him. You bypass everything. Now, all of a sudden, you're in. Why? Because people don't turn around and say, hey, guess what? Peter's not a good person. He doesn't deliver on anything he says. And to be quite honest, his work sucks. No one says that. So when you get a personal referral, it's like, okay, your foot's in the door and people think unbelievably highly of you. How do we capitalize on that? We go back, that history, powerful words, powerful statements, putting that pitch together, getting your branding document right, getting your LinkedIn right. Now, because you're networking and you feel confident of all of your accomplishments, then it's easy to separate yourself from every other person applying for an opportunity. Now, let's stop for a second, because now we've gone through develop and verbalize your brand, how to write your resume in LinkedIn. Those are the first 3 courses within CMP. And we heavily, like, course 1 takes 2 weeks to get through, because that's really building your brand. And then everything else is affected off of that. But now here you are, you're going into course 4. You're going into how do you search and apply for opportunities. You've got your resume out. You're working with some recruiters that you have relationships with. And if you don't, recruiters are great, but you got to know what the expectation is going in. Don't think that the recruiter's always going to get you the job. 90% of the people don't get placed by an agency. Only 10% do. Let me say that again. 90% of the people that apply to an agency don't get placed by the agency, but 10% do. In saying that, if you build a relationship with a recruiter, know that he or she that is representing you, they should be calling and following back up with you. They should be sending you emails if they have opportunities, but do not depend on them. And all of a sudden unemployment's running out. You know, it's now July and COVID's gone at the end of July, the $600, which is $2,400 a month, that's gone. And now you're on straight unemployment, and the oh shit factor comes in. Like, I've got to get it together. Don't rely solely on a recruiter. And I'm a recruiter. I'm an executive recruiter. You should be looking at your network, just like I would. If any of you guys, anyone on this call came to me and said, I need help, and I specialize in accounting and finance. You're an accountant. I'm going to go to my client list, and I'm going to go to my people I've placed and the people I have relationships with to see who I could present your background to. Because again, agencies are paid a fee to place you. Now, that's why when you go to an agency and tell them you want to switch industries and switch roles, they look at you kind of cockheaded, because they're like, well, I can't do that for you because people pay me money. They pay me money for the skill set you have now, not for what you want to do. So that typically never happens through an agency. But I'll tell you this, if you have your brand right, you got your resume right, you got your LinkedIn right, and you can communicate that you have all of the deliverables to get there, getting a referral into a different line of business, into a different type of opportunity, because someone will vouch for who you are, what you stand for, what your deliverables are, and the person that you are. 90% of the time, that person will get interviews. 90% of the time, person will get interviews because of the referral, because of the personal referral, at least a phone conversation. So we're in a marketplace right now that is upside down. 65, 70 days ago, you could post your resume out and everyone's looking at your background. There were more jobs than you could shake a stick at. My 17-year-old son could come into my agency, pick up the phone, and call all the list of the people that I know, and they would give him jobs. The hard part was getting the right candidate for an opportunity. Well, the tide's changed now. Companies have fewer jobs. They are hiring, though. Don't be perceived that they're not. There's jobs out there. It's just in a very elongated process right now. But the candidate pool is so deep right now. How do you pool? You're now pooled in with everyone else. How do you separate yourself from everyone else? That's why we tell college students this all the time. You know, our college members that are on our platform, we talk about branding documents, your LinkedIn, and then how in networking, in separating yourself out from everyone else. Because when you network and you do follow-ups, there is a component that people now have assimilated you with them at that, at that point, saying, wow, he or she is great. I remember them. I met them. Hey, they're reaching out to me about an opportunity. I'm going to give them a call. Or you reach out to them directly and say, hey, Bob, we met 6 months ago at this networking event. I wanted to reach out because I saw your company had an opportunity. I wanted to get a gauge from you on that opportunity, what you like about the company, and then who does that report to and what do they like? You're gathering intel. You have to be your own recruiter. You have to be your own recruiter. You have to be in control. Don't wait for jobs to come to you. Go and get them. Why? You've built your brand. You built your branding document. You built your LinkedIn that represents your brand. And now you're confident. You're confident to go and get the opportunities you want. Now, mind you, is it going to happen the first time out of the gate? No. And if it does, unbelievable, because I know it works. It does happen once in a while. But sometimes it just takes a lot of networking and a lot of strong follow-up, professional follow-up. This is everything that the career management platform teaches. You're a member for 12 months for a reason, because we help manage your career, whether you're in a career 911 situation where you got to find an opportunity, or you're in your current role and it's the monthly 30-day look back. And then how do you get prepared for your year-end review so you hit the apex of your earning potential, or possibly get elevated in that role, hitting your career plan. We have career assessments on our website, and there's a reason we have those assessments, because those assessments aren't going to be fill out the 98 questions for the professional assessment and say, all right, you need to find a new job. That's not the answer. We don't give you an answer for a reason. We want you to put the time in to fill out all that information, click the PDF and pull it together, because that actually, we tell everybody when they sign up for any one of our courses, any one of our memberships, we actually want them to take the career assessment, whether it's college or professional. We want them to take the assessment, because that is the precursor to course one. That's going to ask you all the questions of what you liked and what you didn't like, what your key accomplishments were, how was your relationship with your manager and your coworkers. And by the way, it's a strong look in the mirror. It's a strong look in the mirror. How were you perceived at your last opportunity? Or how are you perceived currently right now? And what can you do to make a little change? And that's where all of our coaching comes in. We got 104 days of executive coaching. That's where this kicks in. That's where it kicks in. So for me, I know there's a succinct process. I built the core 5 courses, and I'm giving you the core 5 courses right now. I'm telling you, go out and build your brand. Take the time. I know it's career 911. Go get the unemployment and the COVID. Get the money coming into the house and hunker down the family. Take a deep breath and start building all of your accomplishments. Every single person I've ever met has accomplishments. They're in a job. People found value in them. Now, mind you, there are people that got laid off. There are people that consult and they go temp to temp to temp and contract to contract to contract. Still adding value. What's the value? What's your deliverable? Sometimes it's really important to step back and look inside and say, wow, okay, I'm going to take ownership on this. This is my fault. I should have done this to get to the next step. Building a plan is the key. It's funny. Build a house. You go and build a home. You lay out a set of plans and you follow those plans. And next thing you know, you have the home that you wanted to build. This is no different. What we did was we developed the core 5 courses and said, I don't want it to be self-service. I do, in a sense, I want you to take the initiative to have the self-service, but everything's step-by-step video. We offer 104 sessions of executive coaching for our college all access and professional all access. That's 2 coaching sessions a week. So no matter what comes up, you can come on a call like this, ask the question live, and myself and my partner and all of our executive coaches that work for the career management platform are going to give you sound advice. Why? Because we're all executive recruiters. This is all we do. So let's do a quick recap, and then I'll take any questions anyone has. Recap is this. Go and get unemployment taken care of and underway. Before you post your resume, sit down and do a chronological history of every single thing you've ever accomplished, all the failures that you've had that have resulted in you learning more. Let's bring that, because we're going to spin that around and you're going to make that a positive. Let's look at the technology and the people that you've interacted with. Let's get it all written down. Take a little bit of time. Review that 4, 5, 6 times, 8 times, 10 times before you proceed forward. Then grab your resume and look at the bullet points and go, wait a minute, this is heavy, much heavier than this. Let's go and grab all the keys out of here and put it on this document, this branding document. And then let's go back in and say, okay, what are all the keys that I've had in my history? Let's go and build a powerful word and a powerful statement. Let's put it together and let that be your brand. That's a starting point. From there, let's update the LinkedIn. Let's make sure the dates and everything match. Let's make sure you have a professional profile picture. I mean, you literally can grab your phone sitting down like this, put a shirt and tie on or a blouse and a jacket on, take the picture, bang, post it up. People look, they make decisions on LinkedIn. It's the first place any hiring manager goes. They make decisions on your presentation right there. And when there's no picture and everyone else has a picture, let me tell you something. You better be able to part the Red Sea with all your skill sets. People use that tool in order to be able to proceed forward and build the interview process. Networking. If you went to college, if you went to trade school, if you high school, private high school, whatever it was, no issues at all. Go back in, start connecting with everyone you know. Connect with everybody that you worked with on LinkedIn. Get connected. Because in there, if you're connected and you have references on your LinkedIn, people look for references and referrals on your LinkedIn, and you have them there to say, because that's all the things. When I give a reference, I don't talk about he or she knows how to do these systems. Yeah, I put it in there, but I talk more about their deliverables, what they're able to accomplish, the time frame they're able to accomplish it in, and then how and why I have trust in them. Because at the end of the day, those are the intangible pieces that nobody can see. You need a reference for that. That's how you separate yourself from everyone else. Don't let anyone tell you because you're on a Zoom call, it's a white, it's a loud shirt with a loud tie to separate yourself from everyone else so they'll remember you. That's not it. That's never it, and it will never be it. What it will be is your deliverable, your verbal advantage, your brand verbal advantage, and how you represent yourself in the confidence that you have. And everybody, every single person I've ever dealt with has it. It's right there. You just need to take the steps to build it. Because by the way, as we teach all of our members, once you build it, it's so much easier to add to. And we help you with emails and with guided monthly tasks that you need to do and updates. And we have quarterlies and semi-annual and annual updates. And we work with our members to keep their brand super strong. Because at any point in time, if you weren't managing your career, mind you, 20 some odd million people weren't managing their career prior to this, and nobody knew that this was going to happen. You get laid off. What do? Well, if you understand your brand and you understand everything we just talked about, you proceeding forward now supersedes everything, because guess what? You're ahead of the curve instead of being behind it. You're ahead of the curve instead of being behind it. Why? You understand your self-brand. You understand your branding document. You understand your digital brand. And then going out and building a network that will feed you down the road is one of the most important things you can do. I'm a connector. People come to me and say, hey, I want to meet so-and-so at XYZ company. Bang, I'm connected with them. I write a note because I've sat down and I've interviewed them and I connect them. That's what I do. You're no different. You can do the same thing. It's very easy on LinkedIn to reach out to somebody that you went to high school with, college with, that you interact with at a prior company. Could be a vendor at another company, and you saw them that they were on LinkedIn and they're at a new company. It could be, hey Bob, oh my God, it's been a long time. I worked at such and such company and we did business together. I wanted to reach out and get connected with you on LinkedIn. If you need anything, let me know. Now all of a sudden you rekindle a prior relationship, and if that company ever had an opportunity, you have a reference there. You got to look at your network. In today's day and age, it's not about posting up a resume out there. It's not. That's not how it's going to happen. It's not how I mean, it happens like that, but if you're in control of your career and you want what you want, I don't think it's the way to do it. I think now all of a sudden there's 20 million people in the market plus everyone else that's confidentially looking. How do you separate yourself from everyone else? Well, listen, I get phone calls all the time from candidates wanting a new opportunity. And I listen to them and I listen to their pitch and their deliverables. You're no different. So this is what the career management platform does. We help manage a career, whether you're in your career and you want to elevate and manage it and hit the apex of your earning potential and skill set, or if you're in a situation that you need help, this is what we do. We teach you that structure so that you can build your brand and get in front of people and be confident. That's the difference. The other component to this is you're backed up with all this coaching and you have it live, just like this, twice a week for any of our all access members. What we've done too, just so everyone on the call knows, I made a business decision with my business partner, Anthony Roman. We talked to a lot of people. We've done a lot of these free complimentary calls on Wednesdays. We've had them on Saturdays. We've talked to a lot of individuals that are on our platform and got referrals, and money's tight right now. And we completely understand that. So I've made a conscious decision with Anthony to drop the pricing of our memberships down to $12.99 a month for a 12-month commitment and not change one iota of service that we offer. All the coaching's there, everything's there. All the training videos, we're adding up new career videos on a weekly basis starting next week. So to have access for $12.99 a month to executive recruiters like myself and Anthony and the rest of our team to give you the career guidance you're looking for, I think in this crisis is really important. It's important to have that type of guidance. And you know what, our service wasn't cheap. And when this crisis ends, the pricing is going to go back to it. But right now, I mean, you're not paying $450 a year for a professional all access membership. You're paying $12.99 a month. I own the platform. I built the technology. I built the training programs with Anthony Roman. So we own everything. We're not licensing and buying licenses from everyone else. So we can do this. And I have zero issues in investing in everyone who comes onto our platform at this low dollar amount right now, because it's our way of giving back. So is there any questions that we have right now on what we've discussed today and the steps that we should be taking? And I can follow up with an email afterwards give you guys a career outline. If you're in this 911 situation of some of the things we discussed today, I'll outline it out and get it out to everybody this evening. But is there any questions I can answer for anyone live right now in anything? Do I have any tips for recent MBA graduates? Yes, I absolutely do. So if you're a recent MBA grad, right, and you don't have any real experience, this is one of those ones where you're going to look back and talk about the items you've done in school, whether it's in college or an MBA program. You're going to talk about the projects that you've worked on, the technology that you've picked up. You want to then turn around and build your brand that way, because think of it this way. And I look at people who get an MBA, a CPA, a JD, an LLM, like all of that. I look at that and I'm in awe of it. You know why? It takes tenacity. It takes skill. It takes follow through. It takes so much personally. Well, how do you get that onto a piece of paper? Well, you talk about your grades. You talk about your studies. You talk about your projects. You get references from your professors. The reference piece is so important. It's so important because when a reference from a professor says, and mind you, you have no live experience, okay? And that's okay. But when that professor says, you know what, he or she just killed it. They were easy to talk to. They were always organized, always prepared. And they take what they're doing seriously, and they really want to be a success in this vertical that they got their master's in. Let me tell you something. That means more to me than 2 lousy internships that weren't within your field of study. I'd take the recommendation all day long, and I've hired that way. I'd take that recommendation all day long from a professor, because he or she, like I said earlier, is never going to turn around and say, guess what? Billy sucks. He's horrible. Doesn't show up on time. Comes completely unprepared. And everything he does, he's failing. They don't do that. Look in that reference pile. Look inside there. Look at the projects that you've done, in the technology you use to do that, in the process that you use to accomplish those projects. Look at professors for references. Know what your accomplishments were. You went from high school to college to grad school. Well, you're definitely a lot smarter than I am. I'll tell you that right now. Be proud of it. Own it. Represent it. Build your brand based on your deliverable. Tell people. Don't be afraid to tell people, this is what I can do. I feel very confident. I have no real life experience, but I will tell you this, and you can talk to anyone that knows me. I show up, I'm prepared, I'm early, I stay late, I deliver, I meet and exceed deadlines. That's how I've lived my life to get through this MBA program. I want excellence in every project that I worked on, and I have references that will show that. Let me tell you something. I'll hire you. Your references say that, check the box. We'll find a place for you. That's what this is about. There's a lot of college professionals in your situation that have worked so hard to get to a point, but they're in IT and they've never had any real experience. They're in accounting, or they're, in bio, and they haven't had the live experience. Well, you got to leverage it on the relationships you built while you were in college and in your grad school. You got to leverage that with the projects that you've brought together. And when you do that, your confidence level goes from here to here, because you know what? You're amazing. You have to feel that. And I say this, and I'm not joking at all. You have to feel confident about your accomplishments. Again, you're in grad school. Not everybody gets that privilege and that opportunity and is that smart to get there. Just because you got a bachelor's doesn't mean that you have it to get a master's. Be proud of it. Own it. Feel confident about it. I promise you, you go back and do what I told you to do, it's a game changer. I wouldn't be teaching this to thousands of people on our platform and preaching it 104 times a year and talking about branding and giving examples when we're on our calls live every week of how I pitch myself. How I pitch myself as the CEO of the Career Management Platform is different than how I pitch myself as the director of staffing for Daly and Associates consulting practice. They're 2 different jobs and they're 2 different pitches. But what I know is this: I know what I can deliver on. And again, here we are 40 minutes later, and I still can't change the oil in my car. You do this consistently over the course of time, and you build your brand and feel confident. And you know what? And you'll see it. It's on every page in the Career Management Platform. It says at the bottom, protect the biggest asset you have, which is your career. Because guess what? Your career pays for the house, pays for the car, pays for the trip, pays for the food, pays for the friends, pays for the wife and the kids and the college. Well, when you're not protecting it and you're not securing that asset, that's the issue. you're putting it secondarily. And when you put it secondarily, next thing you know, you're being dragged behind the bus. You're not in the driver's seat. Now, all of a sudden, a crisis like this happens. What do? So for everybody on the call, that's what the career management platform does. That's our deliverable. We focus in tightly and help you build that brand and then build that long-term goal. Oh, someone's coming up, construction going on. But we help you build that 1, 3, and 5 year plan. That's the key here, okay? Obviously, this is one of the perks of living, working at home. Construction going on next door, house is busy inside. But at the end of the day, this is what we're all about at the Career Manager Platform. I couldn't be more proud to have my business partner, Anthony Roman, as our Chief Learning Officer. So I'll say this, our program has been reduced until further notice, until we feel that the economic climate is back at a good rate. We're offering all of our programs at a $12.99 per month, and we're not taking away any of the coaching or anything else. But I appreciate everyone's time. I'm going to follow up with everybody with an email this evening. I'll give you guys an outline. You know what? Come back. If you don't sign up, if this is something that you don't want to commit to right now, that's fine. Come see us next Wednesday. Get more info. Ask more questions. Let us help you. All right. I'm Peter Coltrides. I'm the founder and CEO of the Career Management Platform. Get connected with me on LinkedIn. Follow us on LinkedIn in our group and on Facebook. We're going to put out a lot of content out there for you as well. Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate your time today.